Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the ACSS News Broadcast. We are trying to make sense of what's happening in the world of sanctions, and particularly with respect to the sanctions against Russia. And we will guide you through what's happening right now and why it matters for your business. My name is Saskia Rietbroek. If we can please show the presentation. Yeah, thank you very much. Here we go. Next slide, please. My name is Saskia Rietbroek, and I am the Executive Director of the Association of Certified Sanctions Specialists, or ACSS. Please visit our website at sanctionsassociation.org. And next slide, please. Before I go into this broadcast, I would like to really quickly give you a heads up on a super nice conference that we have coming up in next month in Miami. This is our Sanctions Conference on October 27, 28. We're going to have a range of speakers, including from OFAC, BIS, Department of State, and industry experts. This is an in-person conference, so go to our website now to register and make plans to see us in Miami. Next slide, please. So back to what we are focusing on today. Late Friday, OFAC dropped some weekend reading for us here at ACSS by publishing so-called preliminary guidance on how the price cap agreed by the G7 and the EU recently will apply to the maritime services providers and what that means for people in the sanctions community. And it's quite complex, so we're trying to give you a summary of what this guidance says and what it means. And we would like to approach this from the 5 W's. So who, what, where, when, and why. So let's start with the when. This guidance was issued on Friday, September the 9th, and a new intended ban will take effect on December the 5th, 2022 for crude, and on February 5, 2023 with respect to petroleum products. Who does it affect? This new guidance and this new ban will affect a broad range of service providers related to the maritime transportation sector, the ones that transport Russian origin crude oil and petroleum products. So what is in this guidance? It is really this guidance it's frankly quite new, the way this is issued, because it is issued in anticipation of a new Treasury determination under a previously issued executive order, namely Executive Order 14071. And this new determination that has not come out yet, will do the following. So interesting, we're actually getting a heads up on future sanctions coming down the line. So what does it do? These new sanctions will permit the services from the US or by a US person wherever located, related to the maritime transportation of Russian oil. If the seaborne Russian oil is purchased at or below the price cap, and it will prohibit such service if the seaborne Russian oil is purchased above the price cap. I'll tell you more about that a little bit further. So where does it apply? Actually, the companies that are affected are companies in the US, but I also expect the EU to do something. And I will tell you more about that, how this fit into what the EU has been doing so far. They actually went a little bit further already. And why they are doing that? In fact, they're doing this to make sure that countries outside the G7 can keep buying Russian oil and the prices don't go up any further. So one step back, we'll just continue on this slide, but I want to give you a little bit of context. So first of all, we have to separate two different things. First of all, the ban on the import of oil to the US, the UK, and the EU, that already exists, right? And second, a ban on providing insurance or trade finance related to this already, the first ones remain. as is, right? That does not change. But this guidance is impacting the second type of sanctions, the prohibition to provide related services. And so far as I could see, only the EU and the UK have done this. So this includes a prohibition on trade finance and insurance that will go into effect by the end of the year. There was a wind down period. And if that would go into effect, these sanctions from the EU and the UK, that would have a huge effect. EU and UK companies collectively provide for, I don't know, almost like 90% or so of global shipping insurance. The US did not go this far yet, but what this guidance tells us that they want to do this as well with this determination that is coming out. So let's dive a little bit deeper. So the EU went very far in this respect already. In its 6 sanctions package, the EU did not only prohibit providing insurance and trade finance or transportation of the Russian oil that was destined for the EU, but also to any other country. The UK did not go as far as the EU in this respect. So going back to the EU, if this sanction goes into effect in December, this would mean a EU ban on providing insurance to tankers transporting Russian oil anywhere in the world. So let's say if Russia wants to export oil to, let's say, Kazakhstan, then a European insurer cannot insure the vessel or the cargo. So it won't happen. It would really make it impossible for many oil tankers to transport Russian crude because of the dominance of the European insurance industry. And guess what that means? Prices go up. So the US has been working on ways to ensure that this does not happen. And one of the proposals was to have this, agreed cap. So that's what they announced recently after the G7 meeting in Germany. And now this guidance came out. So let's go back to the guidance. So unlike the EU and the UK, the US has not issued this yet, but that will change. So what can we expect? There's going to be a new determination coming out from the US under this Executive Order 14071 that will prohibit these services unless you comply with the price cap stuff. So have they done something like this before? Yeah. The Treasury has issued a determination before for a certain sector under the same executive order. And I think it was in May when they issued this prohibition to provide accounting services and trust services to any person located in Russia. So let's go to slide number, the next slide, please. Let's talk a little bit about what this means for compliance officers at banks, shipping companies, insurers, commodity traders, and others. So there will be these new restrictions, right, coming out on a broad range of services related to maritime transportation of crude and petroleum products. But there will be exceptions. So that's when the price is right, when the price is not too high, that is at or below a certain price cap. We don't know what this price is yet. That surely will be determined soon. So how can you stay compliant, right? That's what you will be asking yourself. Well, so this is what the guidance explains, and it goes into some detail here. You have to obtain certain documentation or attestations for your clients or other parties in the supply chain that the purchase price of the oil is at or below the price cap. And depending on the type of insurance, the type of institution that you are, OFAC expects different things for you. So here you see some examples on this slide, right? You may have to request some trade documentation or attestations, depending on which tier you fall under in this scheme. Remember, if you are, let's say, a financial institution, if you are a broker, you may have different information at your disposal. So there's different expectations for you. And that is explained in this document. Next slide, please. And by the way, service providers will need to document all of this, and you need to keep this for 5 years, right? So there's a record keeping requirement as well. Now, another thing you need to do is you have to watch out for evasive behavior. or red flags. And OFAC gives some examples of situations where, how this would work in real life. So on the left, you see an example related to a financial institution that is requesting documents from a shipping company or an insurance or a broker. And on the right, you see another example involving a broker. And the document gives examples of both prohibited behavior and allowed behavior or permissible behavior. So there's a couple of examples in this document. Next slide, please. And there's also some red flags that you need to watch out for. And it's really a red flag telling you that your client is paying too much, right, for the oil. So the record keeping and the attestation process is really intended to create a safe harbor, for from liability for your company for violations of this new policy. In cases where other service providers or yourself are dealing in oil purchased above a price cap due to falsified records, for example, provided by companies in the chain. So you are able to, and this is what OFAC says in its guidance, you are able to rely reasonably on a customer attestation. And OFAC expects you to retain these documents for 5 years. So that is important. Some of the red flags that you need to be on the lookout for is there may be evidence of deceptive shipping practices, and we've done some webinars about this. A refusal, of course, to give the price to you, and some other examples that OFAC has provided in its guidance. So it's a new compliance obligation. It's new compliance expectations. It's just preliminary guidance so far. So it's not really, it's not law. It's not, your examiners may not look at it yet, but I'm sure there will be more guidance coming out and more guidance and definitive guidance on what the regulators expect from you in this respect. I think it's a huge development. It's innovative. I have to see what happens in real life with respect to this price cap and how the Russians will react to this. But it's good to have on your radar especially if you work in maritime shipping and need to ensure that your company complies with OFAC. Next slide, please. All right, so before we wrap up, this is we have some interesting information for you on our website at sanctionsassociation.org. You can click on the Russian Sanctions Hub and then get some free downloads, for instance, about Russian sanctions and which sanctions apply to which Russian banks. It's a really great resource, and it's here for you without charge. Next slide, please. All right, this was it. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's see if there's any questions from the audience. Just give it 1 minute or so. Okay. All right. I don't see any questions coming in, so let's wrap it up. Once again, thank you so much for attending this broadcast. We look forward to seeing you at our conference in Miami next month, and if not, at our next live broadcast coming soon to you through LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and have a great day.